Hey everyone, happy Friday. Thank you for joining me here tonight. My name is Alyssa Thomas from Penguin and Fish, where we make lovely and quirky hand embroidery kits. And I'm here every weeknight at 8:30 p.m. Central Time. And it's a time that we can relax and craft together for about an hour here. And I work on projects from beginning to end so you can be part of the whole process along the way and just come and chit chat and hang out. So you guys, we are continuing a little evening of the Splendid Sampler 2. Again, we are continuing the Stitching Paws block. So it's this cute little bouquet with little paws on it. We are doing needle turn applique right now, so we're this far. We made this outside border, we've traced our design, and now we're putting on all of our needle turn applique. So we finished the little leaves, and now we're going to move on to the paws. We have it all prepped right here. So a little bit of this tonight, and that is the plan. So I'm going to flip you around, and we'll get going here. Okay, so a little bit of needle turn applique. Hold on a sec here. Okay. So we left off on making all of these leaves, and I think it is time to start these guys. I think I'm going to go in order, like 1, 2, 3. Obviously, we are not going to get all those done tonight. We'll probably just get a couple little parts of this first one done. Oh, I have to show you. I cleaned up my pile from last night. Look, I got a nice, beautiful pile here now waiting for the next part of the Bet's White project, the little felt village. And these are all my scraps. I was thinking that we could make like maybe some coasters or something out of these. I was thinking about maybe doing that tonight, but then I was just feeling like, you know what, I just need some more needle turn, so we're going to do that instead. But I think maybe we will do some coasters out of all that pretty felt next week. Maybe that would be kind of fun. Okay, so I have these labeled. So this is my number 2 paw. It's like all the main big paw foot. What would you call these? The pads. The main big pad, and then all the little toes separated, because we need that, like a 3/16 of an inch or so around it. And then we have here's 3. Number 3, and so this is number 1 here, and we've numbered our pieces here as well. Yeah, coasters and mug rugs. I think that would be fun. I was thinking it could be kind of like we cut out a square like this of felt, and then we would just kind of abstract lay all those scraps on, and then just sew them all down and see what that's like. All right, let's start with this first piece. So I have it traced already onto here. I'm going to just trim my seam allowance. So it's less than 1/4 inch. Now we're going to have to deal with like inner curves and outer curves. Let's see how well we do this tonight. It's been a while doing all of these little needle turn bits. These leaves were probably as the easy part. So I'm gonna pin this down, but we will definitely need, on the inner curves, we will need to snip into the curve a little bit, because when we flip it under, it needs to spread out, and if the fabric's all, fabric still, it can't spread, it can't stretch that far, unless it's like elastic or something, but it's not. So we're going to cut in a few bits there, and then we'll probably trim some excess around these outer curves. And then these inner curves, again, we'll have to snip into it. So I'm trying to think of what would be a good spot to start. I kind of think we probably will just start on one of these inner curves, so we'll have to trim it right away. But I am going to put, actually, yeah, let's trim it. So I'm gonna just kind of clip. I'm not trimming, I'm clipping. So I'm clipping into the seam. Again, this is just gonna allow our seam to spread once we flip it right side out. There, so I'm just gonna go like that. I'm like maybe a thread away from the actual line. This is where we have to watch out for our fuzzles, because the more we handle it now, it's going to want to just start fraying and everything on us. So that's what we're trying to watch for here. So I just got myself an applique pin. Oh, Robin, you've been doing a lot of applique lately. That's fun. I find it super duper relaxing. All right, so I'm just aligning my my line on the piece with the lines on the background as best as I can. And all right, let's get some thread. I'm using just this 50 weight thread. Jackie, I am totally with you. I'm always a little bit afraid of that too. It just seems so weird to be that close to like snip that close to your actual line. That makes, like, I totally feel weird about that too. But the fabric needs somewhere to go. Like if you flip it back, it doesn't have anywhere to spread out because you're kind of like turning it inside out. And it needs to be able to spread if it's an inside curve. Versus the opposite, here there's a lot of bulk on the outside if you turn it underneath the outer curve, so we'll cut pieces out of there potentially. All right, I think we're gonna just do it the way that I'm comfortable today. We tried a few different ways last week, but I'm gonna just flip by hand and hold it in my hands like this. I'm most comfortable holding the piece versus doing it on the table. But I still would like to practice that. I need to watch, I think, more videos. I think I'm missing a tip here or there for that. So this already curved in pretty well right away, which is great. I'm gonna clip those. I'm gonna attach those down, tack those down really quick while everything looks good. And now I'm approaching an outer curve here. So here's where I'm gonna have to start shaping that. I may get rid of some of the bulk of the outer curve. Let's see. So I can kind of clip some bulk out of here, so like a little triangle. All we're trying to do is reduce how much fabric is in that seam allowance. This freaks me out sometimes too, I don't want it to fray, but it will. See, now since we got rid of some of that bulk, now there's not as much stuff that we need to, not as much fabric that we have to stuff in this tiny, tiny little spot here. So hopefully that will work. So yeah, now I'm just gonna start turning this and tucking it under. Sometimes I like tucking it a little bit more than I need to and then poofing it out again. Especially for like these little pieces. Then once I have those lines matched up, I try and tack them down while I can. And it might just be one little stitch at a time. And it is so little, like I should actually, maybe I will do that. I have to clip into this next part right away. So here's this inner curve again. Inner curves need to be able to spread out. So I'm just gonna clip into there so it's allowed to spread when it's tilted the other way. So I'm not even done with this outer curve here, and I need to prep that inner curve. And I my seam allowance to fold in the back. Like I want it to just kind of bunch together instead of like fold, because when it folds, then you can get like a little point on the, like a little bump, and I don't want to have that. So. Oh man, you guys, I think, I've been trying to start swimming and everything again. I'm just trying to make it more of a habit to exercise. Like when I come back from the office, I try and just stop at the Y. But holy cow, I think the swimming has caught up with me today. I had to sleep almost. This is just horrible. I totally lost a day today. I had to sleep almost the whole day. I think I might. Yesterday I was kind of feeling like I was getting a little bit of a cold too, so maybe it was a good idea just to sleep. But I was just so tired. And then I woke up on the couch with a mosquito buzzing in my ear again. They're like, what the heck? That's like the second time just mosquitoes waking me up. But I feel a little bit better now. I don't feel like I felt like I was maybe starting to sneeze a little bit more last night and stuff. So I think that went away with all the napping today. But I'm just nervous that I won't even be able to sleep tonight because I was napping all day. But man, sometimes you just need a recovery day, I suppose. All right, this is actually this is going a lot smoother than I thought. So I just kind of swooped the those parts, the inner curve, and it's really just going in the right spot, which is nice. Oh, Gretchen, I totally agree with you. It's the change of seasons too. Yeah, it has been, and it's been so fluctuating. Like it was kind of the low 60s again today, but I was looking at the weather. It's supposed to be like on Monday. It's supposed to be like 85 again. So just that back and forth, and I don't know. Our air doesn't know what to do yet either, and I think maybe just change. Maybe I just don't deal well with change. I think my mom would say that. But yeah, so changing of the seasons, feeling a little all over the place. Well, it's just, Gretchen, it's just not fun to have them buzzing in your ear when you wake up. Oh yeah, Nolene, it was definitely that. I tried to work, but oh my gosh, I could not concentrate long enough to even remember what I was even doing. So then I just ended up napping, and a short nap turned into like a super duper long nap. All right, so I'm reducing that bulk again here by just clipping some out. All right, and then I'm gonna clip into the inner curve again. So inner curves, all you need to do is just put a little clip, a little like snip there. At the outer curves is where you have to reduce bulk. This is going well though. I think this is looking like a little tiny paw. So I think the outer curves are actually a little more difficult because you got to stuff everything in there. It's kind of like the points on the leaves. It's just a lot to get in there, and they keep on pop out. So I'm like super grabbing with my thumb, just trying to shape it as best as I can and tack it down as quick as I can too. Just trying to make it feel curvy and not so jaggedy. Oh, I'm excited about these colors. I think it's looking even more subtle than I thought it would, but I think I like that with the paws, just kind of feeling maybe like it's a little bit more part of like how the leaves are, like they don't stand out a ton, which, it's kind of what I'm going for with this quilt a little bit in general, just not so many in your face type things. since that's my kind of go-to. So I'm just trying to challenge myself with this quilt. All right, we'll get this last little couple stitches for this bloop, outer curve bloop. Yeah, I mean, I really like holding the blocks like this, but if I had a whole quilt, this would be really difficult. Like, I don't know how I would keep turning and, getting my hand here. So I suspect, I don't know, it'd be fun. It'd be a good challenge to do a larger piece. Instead of a quilt, we talked about maybe doing a pillow or something that feels bigger than just a little block like this. Something where we would have to like force ourselves to manage it in a different way because I wouldn't be able to gather the whole thing in my hand like this. I'd like to give that a try just because being forced to do it differently would probably reveal a pile of tips and tricks too out of necessity. All right, I'm just kind of swooping that inner curve under again. I'm going to have to shape it here a little bit. Oh, it's coming together, though. Funny little shape. Definitely have to shape this edge a little. It got a little fold, and I'm going to try and poof that out behind. Sometimes you just got to tack it down, though, and hope for the best, I feel like. Some of these shapes. I am kind of grabbing the seam allowance with my pin and shaping it from the back a little bit. All right, I think we're good there. Oh, I have to cut more leaders and enders, I think. I have enough for a little bit, but if we really get sewing again here, I'm going to run out of squares. So I have more recycled clothing. I just have to chop it all up into my little, I think I'm doing like, what, 3-inch squares. I got to do that again. Oh, it's coming together. I'm going to do like 1 or 2 more stitches here, and then I'll trim out some of that extra bulk from this last outer curve. I think that's been helping. It definitely lays a bit flatter than the leaves because we didn't cut out very much bulk for those leaves. So maybe I should have done that. But we're doing it for these guys. I think this is looking good. It's going a bit smoother than I thought it would, so I'm happy about that. I think one of the bigger challenges, and luckily we don't have it in this particular block, but I think one of the bigger challenges for needle turn, at least for me, is we have inner curves here, but when we have inner points, so like if we had like a star, for example, and like the inner point of a star, that there's some tricks to getting that looking okay. That took me a long time to get, and it definitely came down to learning a couple tricks, and then all of a sudden it started looking a whole lot better. But I was doing it a while without knowing those tricks, and it just not looking good. Usually I can, after working on something for a while, I can be like, man, if I just do this, then it'll be a little bit easier, and that usually works. But with those inner points, I needed the help for sure. So we don't have any in this block, but I'm sure there's more needle turn in the Splendid Sampler that we haven't done yet, where we'll have to deal with those inner points. All right, I'm just totally roughly tucking this under. I need to shape it for sure. I don't want it all to be folded at the seam allowance. I also don't want to handle it too much because then it'll start to fray like it's wanting to do that right here. Get underneath there, Buster. There, I'm just going to try and shape it a bit and just tack it down as I go. Just to hold it all in place. I'm going to do smaller tacks just to hold everything in there. smaller stitches, closer together stitches. How about that? All right, and yeah, let's form this little fold here a bit better. Yeah, this I just straight folded. I want to bunch it over a little bit better. Be a little bit more gradual. Start on this side and start tucking, see if that helps. Ugh, not really. Let's just try and form our shape. There we go, that looks good. Ooh, get that little nubbin down. All right, haha, starting to look better. All right, this one little point here, I'm gonna just try and pull that down to the back a little bit better. Actually, I might just put my stitch right there and have the stitch kind of hold it down. All right. There we go. I just kind of sucked in that point. All right, I think let's just have this be the last stitch. I'm going to go around this spot one more time, and then we'll go to the back and tie it off, and we have our first little guy done. Oh, totally, Dawn. Dawn says needle turning teaches patience. I actually feel like it's one of the more like meditative techniques in like, you know, all this quilting stuff. To me, it feels a lot like knitting like a simple scarf or something like that, or crocheting something simple where you don't actually have to make any decisions on what to do next or anything. You're just doing the work, and it's slow and steady, and you know, little by little. You don't actually have to think of anything. I don't quite get that feeling with embroidery, because embroidery, I feel like you're always making decisions. You're making a decision on, you know, what color to use, or, you know, what stitch to use, or whatever. So I feel like your brain's a little bit more active with embroidery, whereas with needle turn, once you do all the prep, all you're doing is the process of stitching it down, and that feels like really meditative. Ah, it looks great. Okay, I am really happy with that. The curves look good, both the inner and outer curves. There's not that many weird points on it. I'm really happy with that. That went a lot better than I thought. Oh, it is cute, and it is just subtle, that other color. It's just a little darker, and that's it. I have not. Oh, it uses a lot of scraps. Robin, I will have to look into that. I have not done one of her stitch-alongs. Okay, now we got some nubbins here. Gosh, I'm almost tempted to do the other pads first, but ugh, that's kind of like cheating, isn't it? Let's do it one at a time. Ugh, and I'm thinking I want to split up. I'm not going to want to do 12 of these ovals all at once. So by doing a whole paw, that'll like kind of split it up between a big pad and then the little ovals, I'm thinking. So all right, let's go in order. So I numbered these 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I didn't number these, but I think I went from left to right. So that's the order we'll go in, because they're all different. So that's why I labeled everything. Okay, let's trim around that. And I'm probably gonna, I'm only doing like 1/8 of an inch. I mean, this is a small piece. There's a lot of bulky seam allowance we need to flip underneath, but I also don't want too little seam allowance that it starts just fraying on me and I don't have anything to tuck anymore. So that's like the balance, I suppose. I think we can get away without. We won't have to clip because there's no inner curves, but we might have to snip a little bit of the bulk away from these like really outer curve, like these like bold outer curves, I suppose. Not the more like graceful ones. Oh gosh, it's small, small. All right, so my one is right side up there. I suppose it could have gone this way too, but I wrote all of the numbers in the like the lower right hand corner, so I know it's this way, not this way, even though it looks like it wouldn't matter either way. So I'm just matching. Oh, it's so small. I'm matching the top, or I'm matching the blue lines on my piece, and then matching it with the background. I'm gonna pin this. I'm gonna start on this kind of straightaway here, like right there. So I'm gonna pin it down here. All right, let's grab, needles right here. I'm gonna get a new piece of thread. This one's looking pretty swirly, like on a fresh, crisp one. All right, there we are. Let's get a little knot in the end. Okay. Let's give it a go. Tiniest piece ever. Okay, I'm just gonna kind of hold it with my thumb, even though it's held with that pin there. And let's just tuck over this whole kind of straight edge. And again, I'm probably over tucking and I'll have to unpick it a little bit, but that's fine. I think that's a little bit easier. And I think you're not handling it as much either than versus like tucking and tucking and tucking. So I tucked a little bit more than I needed. I'm just pulling it out. And actually, I'm just going to tack it down right there where it feels comfortable. I'm not going to try tacking it anymore or tucking it anymore over here. Gosh, I'm only going to get like one stitch out of every motion, I think. All right, I'm just going to try and stuff this under. Maybe I should get rid of some of that bulk. Let's try and get rid of some of that bulk like we did before. Just going to cut a little triangle out of it. All right. Oh my God, this is so small. I'm just trying to grab the seam allowance and tuck that under, doing it that way, little by little. And the moment I have a little bit that seems close enough to be matched up, I'm going to tack it down. I'm getting a little knot in here. All right, there we go. All right, I'm going to get rid of that pin. All right, got a tiny little bit going there. Oh, Robin, that is the worst. I'd be interested if anyone has a good recommendation for those curved safety pins too. A lot of mine are really dull too, and I just feel like I'm poking a giant hole in my fabric and it's not even going through all the layers of the fabric, so it's just damaging the quilt is what it feels like sometimes. I'm sure once it's washed and all that, it doesn't matter so much, but still, I'm with ya. All right, we made it to a straightaway again, which is nice. Easiest parts of needle turning, even though this straightaway is tiny. But it's fun, you can stitch more than one stitch at a time usually, which is nice. My stitches are so close together for these, just because I need to hold it down. Make sure that I'm getting that curved shape. this is like a 1/2 inch by 1/4 of an inch. This, not even, I think it's thinner than 1/4 of an inch, this little pad here. I'm gonna cut out some seam allowance again. Ugh, it's ridiculously small. And you know, I'm barely cutting anything out here, but I think it is actually helping. Here's my careful tucking again, little by little. Oh, you're using pins instead of the curved safety pins. I've never done that before. I have done just thread basting, where you just do your big basting stitches everywhere. But that's a big hassle too, I suppose. Be nice if the pins just did their job. All you had to do is be sharp, that's it. All you had to do is be pointy. Oh my gosh, almost done here. Got one little kind of funny point, but I'm not worried about that. If that's our only weird spot out of this whole crazy tiny piece, that's fine. Now this is quite the fold in here again. Let's see if I can do that better. Maybe I'll try tucking from that side first. Ugh, this is just messy. Let's try and poof it out and see if we get that curve going. Yep, lost my needle again. Well, I think I'm just going to tack the next little bit down while it's close enough. Ugh. I just want to shape this a little bit more so it feels not so pointy. Poof out this little piece here. I think that helped a little. Alright, let's get one more in here. Oh, actually, we have a little ways to go. Oh no, yeah, I'm going to just do one more here. Oh, there's a lot of stitches in this little guy here. All right, I'm gonna go around this one spot one more time, just to tack it down, and I can kind of see my little fold on the edge, so that's not great, but again, this piece is so small that I'm gonna give myself some leeway there, for sure. It's not gonna come apart with all that stitching in it. Just gonna tie a knot there. Okay. Let's check it out. All right, we have a start here for sure, and I think it's actually lining up really well to the back piece. I think we're doing a great job here. Like, the curves are better than I thought they were gonna be, so that's exciting. I'm feeling good. I think I might actually stop here for the night, just because I think doing one more will probably go over a little bit, and I think we'll be able to next time on Monday be able to do like all 3 of these all at once. So I think maybe that's a good idea. We'll finish this one paw But I think it's looking freaking great, and I love, this is a lot more subtle than I thought it was going to be, this darker, this batik color, so I'm happy about that too. So, all right, I think that's that. I'm going to flip you guys around, and we will call it an evening here. There we go. And it looks like I have maybe a low internet connection tonight too, so probably a good time to stop. Here we are so far. It is coming together, and I think once we get the embroidery on, it's going to be really kind of pretty. It's subtle from far away, but again, that's what I'm going for with my quilt, just kind of subtle overall, which is not my nature in making these quilts, so that was the challenge that I was giving myself with this quilt for sure. Can we tone it down a little bit? I picked that limited palette, and it's fun. It's a challenge, and it's been fun so far. So, all right, I will get this up on YouTube at Penguin and Fish Movies, and I will see you again tomorrow, or on Monday.